All right. Welcome, 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 everybody. So glad to have you here this afternoon. It's good to be here. It's a great time to be alive, actually. That's the season that we're in right now. So I'm so glad that you are here for our Time to Tell the Truth, weekly series that we've been doing for about 5 or 6 weeks right now. And we've got a few more weeks to go. That's our commitment to the rest of the year. And we're so glad that we're being able to share information that we're researching and studying for ourselves. So my name is Dr. Roz, that's what everybody calls me, but my full name is Dr. Rosalind Shaw Belt. I am the CEO of Dream to Life Complex Productions Ministry. Everything's about making dreams come to life. I'm a wife, and as you can see, I do a number of things, but most importantly today is the fact that I'm a certified wellness coach. Now, I do have a doctorate, two actually. One's in theology and divinity, but I'm not a medical doctor. But I have gone through intense training and began to train myself in so many areas to be certified. A matter of fact, I've got a certified econopreneur and lifestyle consultant certification. Also, as I said, certified wellness coach. So today's topic is what's happening in your neighborhood. I used to watch that show about the neighborhood, Mr. Rogers, won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? But I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm talking about the food. The food makes a difference from one neighborhood to another. So let's get started.
What are the restaurants like in your neighborhood? If you can walk somewhere, where can you walk? If it's a corner store, what does that corner store look like? What are the kinds of foods that are available there? Looking at the food environments in certain neighborhoods can tell you a lot about health outcomes and a lot about the investments that we're making in those areas. And there are just neighborhoods that just simply don't have the access that they deserve.
Wow. Now, I hope that hits you like it hits me when I first saw that, because there is a difference. And I'm going to challenge you throughout the course of this. After you hear this information today, I'm going to challenge you. I don't know what neighborhood you live in, but I'm going to challenge you to check out your neighborhood. You may live in an affluent neighborhood. You may not live in an affluent neighborhood.
What are the restaurants?
The bottom line is there are differences. Let's listen.
Access to fresh foods in particular is related to obesity and to other risk factors such as hypertension and diabetes, which we know have consequences for cardiovascular disease.
There are very limited options as far as healthy alternatives.
Fabian Wander works in the South Bronx, in the heart of a longtime food desert. He's director of the Health and Wellness Center at Ostos Community College. He believes there's an impact on the students from food deserts who may eat fast food nearby.
It probably impacts their ability to pay attention, for them to focus.
Think about when you go into a corner bodega. Think about the options that are inside that store. Potato chips, high fructose corn syrup drinks, and everything that is not good for the body.
But why aren't there full-service supermarkets providing fresh produce and other nutritious items?
They don't have full-service supermarkets because they can't make money there. That's the bottom line.
Phil Lempert is known as the supermarket guru. He's an analyst, consultant, author, and podcaster. He says major supermarkets face a slew of costs that keep them out of food deserts. Among them, maintenance, security, and crime. Another issue, food desert residents often lack cars, so their grocery purchases may be smaller.
The problem is when it comes to produce that people who are in food deserts typically don't eat produce.
But supermarket guru Phil Lempert says it can take a long time to change food tastes.
What we're going to have to rely on are government programs that are going to help these supermarkets be able to stay in a food desert and make some money while they're there.
That could help food deserts bloom and spread the benefit of healthy food. Latoya Metters felt it when her mom brought her to supermarkets as a child.
We would go into these stores and I would see like all of these different items and it's like, what's that? And what are these? Like, I've never seen these before.
That's so realistic, because I remember even right now going into certain stores and you see some fruits and vegetables that you never heard of. You got to realize that because that happens, that it shouldn't happen. Basically, we need to know all of this information about no matter where it is. And there are certain cultures that eat certain foods and certain fruits. Even right now, you can go in certain places. You can go in some of the Asian markets and you'll see names of things that maybe some cultures have never heard of. There was this article on KFF Health News. This is where I got this article. And it says, what does it say about your neighborhood? The supermarket, when the supermarket isn't so super, by Chassidal Giles. And she talked a little bit about what this supermarket guru that you just heard him, Phil Limpert. He said, I can go into a supermarket and I can tell everything about the people who live in the area based on what's in their carts, based on what's at eye level, based on what's at eye level. That's amazing. And as I heard that, it made me think about it when you walk in certain stores, because in retail, specific product placement, not just the store's inventory, that influences sometimes what we eat. It influences the shopper's experience, what you see the moment you hit the store. So shouldn't responsible markets encourage shoppers to make better choices? Well, of course they should. But we've got to understand, and I hope today you will become more aware that when you're walking in the grocery store, because see, the presence of a supermarket in your neighborhood, first of all, they talk about food deserts. Well, if you have a supermarket in your neighborhood, then you're not a food desert. See, there are areas where they can't get to a full-fledged supermarket, only little corner stores or little corner grocery stores. If you've got 5 minutes down the street, 10 minutes down the street, you need to thank God that you're not a food desert. But the thing is, what we don't understand, even in that store that's close to you, how that store is stocked. It depends on size, product, movement, shelf size, and a mixture of customer feedback and data. I remember going to one of the stores, there's several stores in my neighborhood, and I know that some are better than others. The ones that are closest to me are not as fruitful or not as quality food as some that I have to drive just a little bit further. And I remember going into one of my stores and I asked the produce guy, could he carry some of the salad kits? Because they weren't carrying those. And guess what? They started carrying them just upon my request, because I go there all the time and I'm spending my money. So I think I can ask for what I want. So it's how the store's stocked. Limpert also said, he explained that companies and brands pay retailers promotional dollars to put their goods at eye level. And I'm going to prove that point today with a lot of different facts. So you just hold on here and get ready. Matter of fact, try to call somebody and tell them they need to get on here today. This health news that I found, this article, also said that in making these largely commercial decisions, markets make it more difficult for people in low-income areas to eat healthfully. So we think it's just about people just not doing it. But if it's not made available to him, and it's been well documented that junk food companies spend a lot more money advertising. And I'm going to prove that. I'm going to show you statistics today that let you know that. But first, I want to talk about this lady who wrote this article. She set out on a Sunday. This was in Boston. And she was going to get 12 items. And she went to 5 different locations, the same store. The store was called Stop and Shop. She went to 5 locations to buy the same 12 items. Now, the good news, she said, was every store had the 12 items, but they weren't located in the same place. One store she went to, and just look at this, one store she went to, I mean, it just exploded with the Oreo cookies. Okay, raise your hand, hit the chat button if you like the Oreo cookies. That's all right, don't tell on yourself. But it didn't just have Oreo cookies. It had every single brand of Oreo cookies. I mean, how tempting is that? Not just the regular Oreos that we used to, turn them apart, but look at how many different kinds and Oreos. And if that doesn't intrigue a person and make them at least say, okay, I want to try that. I've never seen that. Let me try that. Then she went to the Stop and Shop on 301 Center Street. For those of you that are in the Boston area, you might don't know these addresses. And it had a really large marketplace full of natural and organic foods. Okay, now remember, same 12 items in every store. Another location, you're greeted, as soon as you hit the door, you're greeted with a spacious produce and natural food section. And this was at 155 Harvard Street in Brookline. Then there was another store, same thing. You went through that door and produce greeted you. Now, I've got some stores here that have two doors. One door walks you right into produce, another one doesn't, okay? And then check this out. One of the same stores, same grocery store, Stop and Shop, in a predominantly Black neighborhood. When you walked into the produce section, do you see what's in the produce section? Apples, but not just apples, candied apples. And then not pumpkins, pumpkin spice donuts. What are they doing in the produce section? But if a person walks in here and they come to the produce section, bam, this is in your face. And then those end caps, you know how you're going down on your way to the looking for something else, and they got these end caps. Look what's on the end cap. This was a predominantly Black neighborhood. And what did they push? Discounts, sale. You see the big sale sign. Aren't you going to stop? Aren't you going to take a look? Yeah, people do it all the time. And those were cake frostings, 2 for $3, and cake mix, 4 for $5. So now you don't buy one, you're buying 4 of them. You don't buy one, you're buying 2 because, oh, it's such a good deal, and I'm going to be baking some cakes. So what does it say about your neighborhood? What does it say about neighborhoods of your family and your friends? Marketing strategies. They're extensively used in, excuse me, in food stores and commonly comprise 4 P's: product, price, promotion, and placement. Product placement strategies. That's what's influencing customers. Even if you go to the store to do the right thing, because of the way it's placed, purchasing these stores for some time, and this has been going on a long time, and they've been successful at it. It's been documented in marketing literature. They know what to do. They know what to promote. And when you look at the evidence of these techniques, it can successfully be used to limit unhealthy and promote healthy food choices. That has not yet been completed. The same way they're promoting unhealthy, they could flip the script and promote healthy things. Great literature suggests that 2/3 of placement strategies are used to promote unhealthy food and beverages in supermarkets. And then the temptation alley. Who has been victim of the temptation alley? Come on, we got to all raise our hands. We got to all say, I've been victim. You know what the temptation alley is? It's that alley on the way to checkout. Yep. A large majority of products offered at the checkout stands are unhealthy. When's the last time you saw an apple? When's the last time you saw a banana? Are you listening to what I'm saying? See, do you know that about 70% of the checkout aisle foods are junk food, including 89% of the snack size options? Do you know that food manufacturers pay millions of dollars to have their products placed in the checkout? So listen, don't blame the grocery store. They pay for that spot. And healthier options are harder to stock. See, the thing is, what you see at the checkout, it's often there because a big food or beverage company paid the store to place their products there. The checkout is like beachfront property. Not only is it the only place in the store that every customer must pass through, even if you do self-checkout. Many of the checkout shelves are at the eye level of a child. So now here you are, you've gotten all your groceries, and your kid is coming through the aisle with you saying, Mommy, I want this, because it's at their eye level. That's being done to our children. And the most frequent product categories are candy, gum, sugar sweetened beverages, salty snacks, mints, and sweets. Where do you find the healthy items? You don't see them in Temptation Alley. Junk food manufacturers get these spots because they have more money to wave around. These spots are usually sold with a 1, 2, or 3 year contract. Did you know that? I mean, did you know how we're falling victim to something because somebody paid to get us? The candy and the gum manufacturers make so much money on the products they put out there. It costs so little to make a chocolate bar versus how much they're selling it for, that they actually likely have the extra dollars to compete with any other food manufacturer they would like to put in the item on the checkout aisle. So the other items, the healthy food, they can't even afford to put it out there because these guys got all the big bucks. What do you mean big bucks, Dr. Ross? It can cost the manufacturer $1 million a year to place a single product at the checkout in the supermarket chain. And the smaller producers of healthy products definitely might not be able to afford these sort of fees. So, however, many of the companies whose products dominate checkout also produce healthier items. Just because a person produces something that's unhealthy doesn't mean that they don't produce healthy items. So if they're paying that kind of money to put those items in Temptation Alley, guess what? They could use that same money to put something, say for instance, a soda company. They don't just produce sodas. They produce sparkling water, unsweetened tea, candy and salty snacks. Companies also make nut bars and whole grain crackers. So are you listening to what I'm saying? They could use their dollars. They're already spending it. They're spending $1 million. They could actually change it up and put something healthy. So why don't they just put apples or bananas or blueberries there? Well, here's the reason why it really makes sense why they don't. It's too hard to do it. It's too expensive for the store because they have to change the fruit out over time. Well, guess what? When they have a candy bar in Temptation Alley, do you know how long that candy bar has been sitting there? For days, for weeks, maybe even months before they changed it out. Because you don't have to turn over those products, because as we've been sharing in other sessions, they've got all of the necessary products and chemicals and things that are banned in other countries and all the colorings that cause them to have long shelf life.
We are driving through East New York, Brooklyn right now, which is one of the neighborhoods with the highest number of fast food restaurants in the city. I see a Wendy's, a Burger King, a Checkers. Checkers has 2 for $4 spicy chicken or crispy fish. What kind of fish is that? Like, this area is mostly brown and black. So Whole Foods, you don't see them here, but you'll see 2 fish sandwiches for $4. Around the corner from that strip of fast food underneath the 3 train is East New York Farm. Oh, I see we got some action over here.
Some kale. These are the dino kales. These ones are really perfect for a salad, especially with some like salmon, some like garlic roasted salmon. Okay, chef. I hear you, chef. I hear you. Aisha Maharis came to East New York from Jamaica when she was 12. Now she oversees the farm and its weekly farmers market, the only one in the neighborhood.
The farmers market is now open officially.
When it comes to this neighborhood specifically, what are the food options like for the folks?
Very scarce. In terms of our supermarket, it's not fresh, it's not organic, and it's very expensive. The closest supermarket that might be doable or accessible in terms of the fresh produce that's available is really far.
You hear terms like food apartheid, food justice, food desert. What do these terms mean?
It's basically purposely put in certain restaurants and junk food into poor neighborhoods, neighborhoods of color. They're being trapped over repeatedly in that system.
Nearly 40 million people across the country live in neighborhoods like East New York without easy access to healthy, fresh food. It's not just that there aren't enough supermarkets. The problem is systemic and rooted in structural racism. Today, Black neighborhoods have fewer supermarkets and more fast food joints than white neighborhoods, something that can't be explained away by income. What can explain it is segregation. For decades, Black people were systematically denied loans and excluded from certain neighborhoods across the country, and food patterns followed. Grocery stores followed the white folks out of the suburbs through supermarket redlining. At first, fast food corporations also targeted richer, whiter suburbs. But by the 1980s, in droves, they were moving into urban, mostly Black areas, which have fewer food alternatives.
Wow. It's been something that's been happening over and over again before our lifetime, throughout our lifetime, and it's time for a change.
But advocates fighting food insecurity in the U.S. say that equitable access to healthy food options is non-negotiable.
To think for half a second that people are willfully deciding not to eat or not to eat healthy is crazy. I think people think just because there's a McDonald's or a Popeyes, and those places, trust me, I love some Popeyes every now and then, but I have a choice that fast food or fast delis are appropriate just makes me insane because it is just incredibly insensitive. Come and look. I have had grocery stores, I've gone into grocery stores in poor neighborhoods when the fruits and vegetables are brown like me. I absolutely believe we still deserve a choice.
We still deserve, I totally agree with her. We deserve a choice. That's why I'm sharing this information, so you can start choosing. Because absolutely, you can go in some stores and they do have the fruits and vegetables, but do you really understand? I need you to understand that in some stores in our neighborhoods, they're not getting the same quality. Now, I mentioned before about food deserts. What is a food desert? Maybe you've never heard that terminology. Well, it can be described as a geographic area where residents access to affordable, healthy food options. Did you hear the word I said? Affordable, healthy food options, especially fresh fruits and vegetables, is restricted or non-existent due to the absence of grocery stores within convenient traveling distance. Key words here, convenient traveling distance. Yes, you can go to certain stores and you have to drive 30, 40 minutes to get to them. Well, you may be in a food desert.
Speaking of, a new Emory University study has found that access to fresh food across Metro Atlanta depends on where you live. Sometimes you may hear these neighborhoods called food deserts.
Yeah, the study found Atlanta's poorest and predominantly Black neighborhoods consistently have less access to fresh produce than the rest of the city. NewsHead reporter Rob D'Arienzo joins us at the live desk to talk about the problem and, Rob, the potential solutions.
Hey there, guys. Well, the researchers at Emory found a lot of people in these neighborhoods without grocery stores like Publix and Kroger do a lot of their food shopping at places like gas stations and convenience stores. Those are also the places you normally don't find a lot of fresh food.
We see stark disparities among produce access across our city of Atlanta.
New data from Emory University's Rollins School of Public Health paints a stark contrast when it comes to fresh food access here in Metro Atlanta.
We find lower produce options for those stores that are located in majority Black and low-income neighborhoods.
Dr. Megan Winkler is a health scientist and former clinician who worked on this study. She says the neighborhoods where you're least likely to find a supermarket are where it's most difficult to find fresh produce. The areas in purple are also the areas with the majority of residents who are Black. The study found only 44% of small food stores offer fresh produce, and a big factor in that is your zip code.
We're focusing really on small food stores. So we're thinking about the corner stores, convenience stores, gas stations, pharmacies, and dollar stores.
And especially for people without cars, those are often the easiest options. The study says even if these places accept SNAP, or better known as food stamps, they don't always have the best choices you can use them on.
We actually found that not all SNAP stores are carrying these healthy products. And in fact, when we look across majority Black and low-income neighborhoods, those patterns that we saw overall actually widened.
The study says offering these mom and pop stores tax incentives could help them get healthier options on the shelves. When it comes to national dollar store chains, a solution could be requiring them to stock fresh fruits and veggies.
None of the dollar stores in our study actually carried produce. And so I think when we think about solutions, we really do have to think about different tools for different retailers.
And guys, some of these retailers are trying to take it upon themselves to get better options on the shelves. Dollar General has announced plans to bring fresh produce to more than 5,000 stores nationwide by January. Dollar stores and gas stations are the most available options, even in many rural areas as well. At the live desk, Rob DiRienzo, Fox 5 News.
Some innovative ideas coming out of that study. Rob, thanks. Fulton County is doing what it can to combat food deserts. The Fulton Fresh Mobile Market will make 2 stops a day on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for most of October. It offers free fresh produce and recipes in food deserts across the area. You can find a full list of where the mobile market will be located on our website, fox5atlanta.com.
See, those are the kind of changes that have to be made. And those are the kind of changes. I've gone to some convenience stores and maybe you see a bowl sitting out there. But do you realize, I want awareness today. I want you to be aware of some things that are happening in your neighborhood or in the neighborhood of your loved one, your family member. And it's based on zip code. I mean, do you really understand? Did you know that your zip code is one of the greatest predictors of how long you're expected to live? Not your blood pressure, not your cholesterol levels, not your genetics, your zip code. This was a quote by Melody Goodman, an expert on health disparities, was told to the audience at Harvard School of Public Health Symposium. She developed ways to quantify factors such as racism, white privilege, discrimination, and community engagement to improve the health of undeserved communities. She argues that people living just a few blocks apart have vastly different health outcomes because of their neighborhood. Your zip code. Here's another quote by Professor David Williams of Yale School of Medicine. He said, your zip code is a more powerful product of your health than your genetic code. Told psychiatry residents grand rounds in May. In some states, there is a 13-year difference in life expectancy based on what county you live in. Oh my God. A powerful predictor? That's amazing.
When it comes to adding years to your life, your zip code may be more important than your genetic code. Tonight, we're taking a special look at life expectancy here in the Valley. Here's ABC 15's Nick Saletti with how your neighborhood stacks up.
So driving just 15 minutes away could add 15 years to your life. It's part of a new study examining life expectancy here in the Valley, zip code by zip code. Sure, money is part of the equation, but that's just it. It's only part of it.
Health is a function of place.
And that place you call home could add years or take years out of your life.
It is about a physical place manifesting a physical disease in people's lives, and that's cutting their lives short.
John Ford with the Vitalis Health Foundation in Phoenix says pretty much anything can impact your life expectancy. Things like air quality, distance to a freeway, and even proximity to grocery stores could influence the outcome of your life.
You know, in a place like North Scottsdale, you've got probably 3 grocery stores within 0.8 of a mile of a home. In South Phoenix, you do not.
Look at this map. The life expectancy in the 85258 zip code is 85 years. That's McCormick Ranch in Scottsdale. But in 85004, which includes parts of South Phoenix, it's only 71 years. That's a difference of 14 years.
The choices we make are based on the choices we have. And if you live in a neighborhood that doesn't have choices or options for you to be healthy, it's very difficult to be healthy in the long run.
And that's not the only discrepancy. Take Tempe, for instance, right by ASU. Their life expectancy is 78 years, but if you move a few miles away to downtown Phoenix, that life expectancy drops by 3 years. To see if your zip code is on the list, just head to the main page of our website. Reporting in Phoenix tonight, Nick Saletti, ABC 15, Arizona.
So what this says to me is I need to be concerned. If I decide I'm going to move, I need to check out the grocery store, because that'll tell you a lot about the community that you're living in.
obesity affects some communities more than others. That's true geographically, for instance, where the Southeast has a higher frequency than, say, Colorado.
The rates of chronic disease are much higher in low-income communities, and the rates of obesity-related chronic disease are way higher.
Just the built environment that people live in, their access to nutritious food as opposed to things that are high in calories and relatively low in nutritive value.
It's systematically different in communities of color and communities with lower incomes.
Where you live matters, and it matters a lot. Another way of putting this is, does your zip code matter more than your genetic code? This is Baltimore, Maryland, where they have a census tract down near the Inner Harbor with a life expectancy of 62 years, and another life expectancy up in northern Baltimore, 82 years, a 20-year life expectancy difference. This is Cuyahoga County, Cleveland, where we thus far have found the greatest disparity in life expectancy. This is Huff, an inner city neighborhood with the average life expectancy of 64 years, and 8 miles down the road is Lyndhurst with a life expectancy of close to 90 years. Understanding what drives that disparity is going to help us understand what is driving the chronic disease epidemic. It's going to help us understand the tools and strategies to get underneath the obesity epidemic.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. So now here I want you to think about what's in your neighborhood. If you see any of the stores that are within 5 to 15 to 20 minutes from you, I want you to drop it in the chat. If you see, if they're close to you, or maybe put it in the chat and say, how long does it take you to get to that store? 30 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour, depending on what kind of town you live in. If you see a particular store, that's what I want you to do. Put that in the chat and say, okay, I got a Sam's, I got a H-E-B in my area, and it takes me X amount of time. Just put how long it takes you to get there. I just want to get an idea of the different various neighborhoods that are shown here today. If you got a Sprouts, whatever, in different markets, we've got different names of stores. If you see one, go ahead, drop it in the chat, and let's say 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. How long does it take you to get there? How long does it take you to get there? Kroger, how long did Aldi? I've got these stores in my neighborhood where I've got some stores that are closer than others. Trader Joe's. Anybody got a Trader Joe's? All right, I see you say 15 minutes takes you to get to H-E-B. Sam's takes 20 minutes, 3 to 5. Whole Foods takes 20 minutes. We got here a few more. Different areas. And some of them are larger supermarkets than others. But the majority of people, depending on where your zip code is, and we can't just rest in our laurels because maybe we've come out of some of those zip codes, because a lot of us were raised up in certain zip codes, and we can attest to this, but maybe we don't live in those zip codes anymore. But we got to be aware so we can get the word out to let people know what's going on in their area.
In areas where grocery stores are scarce, fast food, carry-out, and corner stores may be the only food access option. Like the dollar store, corner stores typically stock highly processed foods and rarely ever offer fresh produce. Research has linked a poor diet to a range of health issues like high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. An analysis from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention indicate that these conditions disproportionately affect African Americans.
Wow. So what I need you to understand is maybe you're in an area where you see a Trader Joe's or a Whole Foods store, but think about the people, think about the millions of people that can't get there because those stores are not in their neighborhoods.
While grocery stores largely remain elusive in many of America's food deserts, dollar stores have proliferated. Dollar stores tend to target underserved urban communities that lack full-service grocery stores, and their footprint is on the rise in the U.S. Dollar Tree and Dollar General have expanded 50% since 2011. And the two chains have indicated that they have plans for an additional 20,000 outlets. But the problem with dollar stores is that they rarely ever offer fresh produce. Instead, think processed goods that have long shelf life, like cookies and canned meats.
Now, many of you posted how long it takes you to get to those stores. Now I want you to put in there, how long does it take you to get to a Dollar General or a Dollar Tree? Drop that in the chat. Let's see. Does it take you longer to get to a Dollar Tree? Or does it take you longer to get to one of the supermarkets? Right? Because they're everywhere. Dollar Tree, Dollar General, you can pass by 2 or 3 of them on your way to the supermarket.
Kroger, America's largest supermarket chain, has also drawn the ire of some customers. In 2019, the company had sales of $122 billion. But critics allege those profits have come at the expense of servicing communities in need. One flashpoint came in 2017 when Kroger decided to close 41 of its 2,800 stores. The Reverend Jesse Jackson called for a national boycott of Kroger locations, claiming that these shutdowns targeted minority neighborhoods. In a statement given to USA Today at the time, Kroger said, quote, "Because we operate a penny profit business, we must sometimes make tough decisions in order to keep our prices low for all customers." In one of its Cincinnati locations, for example, the company claimed that out of the store's 34 years of operation, more than 20 of those were unprofitable. It added that the stores were projected to lose another $900,000 if it stayed open that year.
So they made decisions based on pulling them out of our neighborhoods.
The American grocery industry is a roughly $700 billion business, with more than 41,000 supermarkets and grocery stores in the U.S. as of 2020. Walmart is a food retail juggernaut. The company has more than 4,500 stores in the U.S., and more than half of its sales come from groceries, $190 billion in 2019 alone.
First Lady Michelle Obama is helping millions of Americans lead healthier lives, and Walmart is proud to partner with her in this effort.
In 2011, the company announced it would open between 275 and 300 new stores in urban and rural food deserts, serving 800,000 people by the end of 2016. Walmart actually exceeded that quota, opening a total of 442 stores in a 5-year time period. However, during that same time frame, Walmart also closed some of its U.S. locations in low-income neighborhoods. In 2016, Walmart announced its plan to close 154 U.S. locations, and according to a report from the Washington Post, these closures disproportionately affected lower-income areas. Out of the 154 closures, 121 of the stores were in neighborhoods where the median household income fell below the national average of $54,000. Walmart declined to comment on the article.
I bet they did. Bet they declined to comment on that article. What about Trader?
The median income of households in counties with a Trader Joe's is about $63,000 and $62,000 for counties with the Whole Foods. A 2016 study by real estate site Zillow found a strong correlation between a housing market and its local grocery store. Homes grow more rapidly in value when they are in close proximity to a Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. The study found that after a Trader Joe's opens in a neighborhood, homes within a mile of the store had appreciated 10 percentage points more than the average rate, and homes within a mile of either store were also worth twice as much as the median home value in the rest of the U.S. Trader Joe's and Whole Foods declined requests to comment on this video.
Can you imagine? Your home appreciates. It costs more because you're in the proximity of Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. So are we being targeted? Is there a bullseye on us as a people? When I talk about us as a people, I'm talking about African Americans, Hispanics, and some people just want to call it multicultural. They put it in a brand called multicultural because they don't want to say what they're really trying to say. But I'm saying today it's intentional. And we need to get upset about it. We need to be informed about it. We need to make a difference about it by recognizing that I'm not going to just stand for it. I'm not going to just allow myself, because I'm taking control of my own health, right? No, I can't go out here and change the whole grocery industry, but I can be aware that I'm not being given the same thing. And if I have the ability to drive a little bit further, we're going to drive a little bit further. But it's intentional. What does it mean when you say something is intentional? It's an action performed with awareness. It's being done deliberately, consciously, on purpose. Listen, I'm telling you, junk food companies target Black children. There was an article in successblackparenting.com, and you want to pay attention because advertising dollars are being spent. In the United States, television advertising of junk food that is high in sugar, salt, and fat targets almost exclusively Black and Hispanic children. Why am I saying this? Because we've been talking about high blood pressure. We've talked about cancer. We've talked about that it doesn't have to be based on your genetics. But I need you to understand, some of it's not our fault. We're being targeted. It's being put in your face. Because if something is consistently put in your face, and if we're not aware of this, the stereotype that Black people love sugar is fueling advertising agencies, and they spend millions of dollars to sell their products to our children. But it's worse than that. Advertising agencies don't think Black parents purchase nutritional food for their children. So they spend basically none of their budget on advertising healthy options like water, fruit, or nuts to the Black consumer. $0. Do you see that wheel? Do you see where they're spending their advertising dollars? Don't believe me? Turn your television on. Watch a Black film or a Black show and see what kind of commercials come on. Are we being targeted? Yes. NBC News said junk food ads disproportionately target Black and Hispanic kids. UConn, University of Connecticut, said food ads target Black and Hispanic youth with unhealthy products. Salute report found junk food advertised more to Latino and Black kids. There was a report done. We're not just making this up. There have been reports, and a lot of this information is done in the 2019, 2016. So you understand it has not gotten better, it's gotten worse. They talked about the trends in food-related advertising. And from 2013 to 2017, the total amount that companies spent was it declined 4%. That should be a good thing, right? It declined from 11.4 billion to 10.9 billion. Okay, so they didn't spend as much. But the total food-related spending on Spanish language TV, it declined, but on Black targeted TV, it increased. Oh God, ladies and gentlemen, we got to do something about this. Because see, if we're not spending the money on it, then they're not going to advertise it. But if they know we're going to spend the money on it, so what am I doing? I'm trying to make us aware that we're causing this to happen by what we purchase, and they're targeting us as a people. In addition, the types of TV programming that Black youth watch also featured more food advertising. I mean, look at this. All the way over to the right. Who's spending the most money? Mars, Nestle, McDonald's, Subway, Coca-Cola, Kellogg's. And the thing is, they do it in secret. Only Mars mentioned targeting Black consumers specifically. The other companies, multicultural consumers. That's, they're dealing with the millennials and the Gen Zs, and they don't say what race they're talking about. And that was like Coca-Cola, General Mills, Nestle, Pepsi-Cola, Popeyes, and Wendy's. Let's look at this again. Black targeted TV ad spending. Did you hear what I said? There's a target on our back. If you've been a person that your favorite cookie, your favorite drink, it's not your favorite. You've been targeted to make you think it's your favorite. Domino's, Mars, Burger King, Wendy's. We can't go down the road without seeing it. And so all of a sudden, the kids say that's their night out. That's what they're going to get. And they're targeting our youth. Black youth exposure to ads for some companies increased. Black children saw more ads from Kraft Heinz, Pepsi Cola, and Yum brands in 2017, while Black teens saw more ads for Kraft Heinz, Hershey, and Pepsi Cola. So when we look at this, we understand that Black and white children's exposure to advertising is different. It's not all the same. When we look at this chart here, we see that in the gray, all the sugary drink, candy, and snack food companies. Who's getting the most of those ads? Black children. Black children, not white children. The restaurants, all the other packaged food, every category of unhealthiness, we're being targeted. And we're falling victim to it. We're saying yes to it. We got to stop. We got to say no. Because when we stop spending our dollars on it, they stop advertising it. Because the money is in the advertising dollar. They're making their money by advertising. There are categories more likely to target Hispanic and Black consumers. What are those areas more targeting Hispanic and Black consumers? And some of them, they target both of them, but there are some that just target us even more. And when you look at Black and Hispanic, they're targeting in the blue. That's us, Black folks, African American. If you're on this and you're watching this, I'm talking to you. They're targeting us for the gum and the mints and the fast food and the candy and the diet soda. Oh my God, the savory snacks, the sugary drinks, the sweet snacks. And due to this generally high total advertising budget, fast food restaurant brands rank at the top in targeting, I'm gonna keep saying that word, targeting advertising spending. McDonald's, Subway, Wendy's. I need you to think about this the next time you're driving down the street when you see it. It'll make you go by it, pass by it, instead of going through the drive-thru. Taco Bell, Spanish language TV, Taco Bell, Domino's, Burger King, Wendy's, Arby's. I feel this now when I'm driving down the street. I said, I'm not going there. Even if I was going there, if I was going to Wendy's or Subway, I used to go get a Subway sandwich. I told you, y'all know my car would go to McDonald's. But now when I look at it and I understand this, I don't want to be a target. Black targeted TV. Lipton iced tea spent more than other packaged food brands, $4 million. Lay's potato chips, Sprite, Doritos. All of these spent over $2 million. Brands that invested more than 10% of their TV advertising budget. Black targeted programming, Lipton iced tea, Jolly Rancher candy, Lay's poppable potato chips. I didn't even know what a Lay's poppable potato chip was. I knew what the Lay's potato chips were. And then youth, our youth. They're the ones asking you in the store. They're the ones watching the television ads. They're being targeted by all of these various brands. And some of us don't even realize it's only one brand that makes a bunch of stuff. Like Mars, you think you're making a decision between M&M's or Snickers or Skittles or Starburst. They don't care which one you pick because Mars makes all of them. Mondelez, all these different brands, all these brands own all of these different products. The Roark Capital Group, Dunkin's, Jamba, look at that, Cheesecake Factory. All of these are Dr. Pepper, Snapple Group covers a whole lot of sodas. And then the top Hispanic targeted brands, they're being targeted too. They are being targeted just like African Americans are being targeted. But we've got product categories that dominate food-related advertising. Restaurants, candy, sugar drinks, and savory and sweet snacks. And we're talking about all the stuff many of us have liked, still like. You may have them in your drawer. You may have them in the bottom of your purse. I'm not saying you can never, ever, ever have them. I'm just saying know that there's a target on your back. And if we stop spending our dollars on it, they will not keep using those dollars to advertise to our people. Top Black targeted brands. These brands all spent more than $1 million in Black targeted advertising in 2017 and ranked in the top 10 for Black targeted TV spending. Okay, somebody, be honest. If you see one of those that you really did love, that you continue, I mean, you might still like it. Put it in the chat. I dare you. I just double dog dare you to confess. Confession is good for the soul. Just let me know. Which one? Which one are you a victim of? Which one do you just have to have at least every now and then? I saw a young girl the other day at the dentist's office. She was at the dentist's office to get a recap of her braces, and she walked in there with a big old bag of Cheetos, hot flaming Cheetos, not just Cheetos, the hot flaming. And they told her, do you know that can mess up your braces? I'm gonna call your mama because she done spent too much money for those braces for you to be doing that to mess them up. Food related. Well, there's no more Skittles for me. I understand, right? Domino pizza, yes, yes. Come on, fess up. It's good for the soul. It'll make you decide to not do these areas anymore because I just don't want to be a target. Food related companies almost exclusively target Hispanic and Black consumers, led by the fast food, candy, sugary. These are, and here's what's the problem with that. These are the products that are high in sugar, fat, sodium, and calories. And they represent the majority of empty calories in a young people's diet, in all of our diets, and directly contribute to lifelong diet-related diseases like diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. We're wondering why. Why is heart disease number one? Why is it number one in our community? Why are we killing ourselves? As our CEO says, we're committing suicide. These are some diseases that are disproportionately affecting communities of color. And furthermore, disparities in Black youth exposure to these ads. That's why we have a generation of kids, a generation that will not outlive their parents, because we are allowing this targeting to take place. Now, look at this chart. This chart talks about categories less likely to target Hispanics and Black consumers. Less likely. They're not targeting us in, do you see the 100% nuts and fruit? If they advertise nuts and fruit, they're not putting it on a channel or a show that is Black related or Hispanic related show. You won't find it there. You have to flip the channel. Juice and water, condiments, prepared meals, cereal, yogurt, and other dairy. But 100%, they're not going to show nuts and fruit. So 5 of the highly advertised juice brands targeted Black consumers, and one yogurt brand targeted Hispanic consumers. However, no water, fruit, or nut brands targeted either the Hispanic or the Black consumer. Oh, there's so many facts here. I was just going out of my head with all the stuff that I was reading and the stuff that I began to research, because TV programming is targeting Black children and teens, and many of the companies, even some of those companies who target us, they promote sponsorships and scholarships for health wellness. At the same time, they're spending advertising dollars that go contradictory to what they give scholarships for. The advertising contributes to health disparities affecting their communities and raise numerous questions about companies' commitments to the health and wellness area. But there's this company called Raley's. I've never heard of Raley's. I don't have it in my area. And this supermarket is actually in California. And over the past 88 years, this family-owned company, they offer free fruit for children in the produce section. And they stock no sodas in the checkout stands. That's pretty amazing. So it's not that it can't be done. And in the cereal section, they change their layout. They give prime shelf space to products with less sugar. Cereals with 25% or more total calories from sugar now on the bottom shelf. And we aren't stopping at the cereal aisle, Waters said. Waters, the owner of this company.
In 2016, The USDA published a report suggesting that residents who live in food deserts still choose to eat unhealthy foods, even when given the opportunity to shop at a full-service grocery store, because of a variety of factors, including household and neighborhood resources, education, and taste preferences.
Now, I played this because she said, even after people get this knowledge, they still choose to eat incorrectly. They still choose to buy the processed food. Maya Angelou said, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. So it made me ask the question, so why aren't we doing better? Because we're starting to get educated, but that doesn't mean we're doing better, right? Why aren't we doing better? Even if we know better, why don't we do better? Because unhealthy food often tastes better than healthy food. It's real simple. It's oftentimes our head doesn't override our taste buds. So there are a few key reasons, and I'm done, why unhealthy foods taste better than healthy foods. Sugar, salt, and fat. It don't take a rocket scientist. Unhealthy foods are high in added sugars, salt, and unhealthy fats. And yes, all of that makes us addictive. Yes, we're brainwashed. And healthy foods often lack those added flavor enhancers that, by the way, are often banned in other countries. Evolutionary adaptations. We crave certain things because of what's in it to make us crave it. Energy-rich foods like sugary, fatty, and salty items because these were rare and important for survival in our ancestral environments. When we study, I showed you the African diet last week. That's not in the African diet. The food processing techniques. Unhealthy foods, they undergo processing techniques like frying, baking. They add butter, oil, and additives that make the taste more appealing. And that's why we think we can't do without them. Healthy whole foods typically do not undergo these types of processing, but they can taste good. And then habit, just a habit. Habitation to unhealthy flavors. If someone frequently consumes unhealthy foods, they can become habituated to those strong flavors, making healthy foods seem less appealing by comparison, even if you haven't even tried it. People say, oh, I don't like that. Have you tasted it yet? Somebody just said it to me just earlier, said, I don't do mushrooms. I don't do the tape, but had never tried a oyster mushroom, fried oyster mushroom, or had never tried a lion's mane that's been put in the skillet and made to taste similar to meat. So in summary, the appealing taste of unhealthy foods is largely due to their high levels of sugar, salt, and fat. And it's killing us. It's killing us.
What is your hope for the future?
Or food in general should become a human right. It shouldn't be viewed as a luxury, especially healthy food. No one should be forced to eat something because the government says so, or because these huge corporations is like, hey, we want to put a McDonald's here for our profit because I know that your community could only afford this. And the hope is for people to embrace their roots and getting back to growing their own food.
Yeah, that's where we are. That's where we are, guys. And I hope that this has been eye-opening. I hope this has brought awareness. I hope this has reminded you of something that you may have already known. That again, if you're driving down the street in your neighborhood and you have all of this temptation on the left and on the right, that you could share with somebody else that it's not just because it's being done intentionally. And what I did is then further down the street, you find a dialysis center, okay? Because they know that's where we're headed if we continue the same rat race. So let's change. Let's do something about it.